Welcome to the Ricky Matthews Show. Hope you're having a great day as we continue to celebrate so many wonderful people across the state of Mississippi from right here at the Citizens Bank studio. Really appreciate you joining us. Hey, listen, I've got a lot of positive feedback for what I've been writing about the need for coastal Mississippi to embrace a more regional approach to economic development. And if you have missed reading the columns that I've written, you can go to supertalk.fm and take a look at it. Just look underneath the opinion column section. And I think I've written 4 or 5 different columns about that subject recently, but a lot of good feedback, and hope that we will continue to have these important conversations behind the scenes about what we need to do to embrace being much more proactive in coastal Mississippi to diversify our economy. Hey, listen to the second half of the show today. Dr. Barber, who's a pulmonologist from Singing River Health System, is going to join me for Singing River Health Talk. I really look forward to visiting with him. I hear really, really amazing things about him. But here we are in the first half of the show. We've got the director for the Mississippi Film Office, my friend, Nina Parikh, who I really enjoy spending time with. Anyway, Nina, how you doing?
I'm doing great. You know, summer's winding down and school's starting, whole new rhythms for the fall. So, yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so for people who have not been with us before, not heard you and me talk before, let's chat a little bit about some of the basics about the Mississippi Film Office and what it's all about.
Well, so we are the economic developers for the film and media and entertainment industry in Mississippi, meaning that we are trying to bring projects to Mississippi to spend money in our communities. And we have found that that is something that has been successfully done in the state for 52 years. Believe it or not, we're one of the oldest offices in the world. So we have been innovators in this space. While we're not the biggest industry, we are certainly one of the first. And I have, stood on the shoulders of those before me who built a great foundation. And it continues like across the world. We're really well respected. People come here because they know that our state is hospitable to filmmaking. They love being here. Not only do we have a great incentive program, but when they're in communities, those communities welcome them. And, where else do you go where you come into a community and you're like, the project needs, period furniture, and the people in that community are like, hey, come to our barn and come look what we have. Or we have great antique shops. So we are unique in the way that we support filmmaking, not just in financially, but also our communities support it in a very unique way.
Yeah, the state has so much. I don't know. It has so much opportunity to bring depth to films. And you think about the geography of this wonderful place and the landscapes of it, the history and the people, and so much. You and I chatted just a little bit before the show started. Steve Asar's son Strack's a film that I think in development was called Banality, but the actual name of the movie has been changed to Death Letter Blues, is actually due out this week, I think, August the 8th. When you think about the talent involved in doing that movie, I'm really proud of Strack and his partners on it, but you weren't as heavily involved in that movie. But the fact is, when you think the beauty of a movie like that, what it does to highlight Mississippi, pretty cool stuff, isn't it?
Oh, it's amazing. And I was able, like you said, we weren't entrenched in the making of the movie because, number one, it was a super low budget movie, and Strack obviously had resources, in Greenville, in the Delta, through his father, and everyone in that community came out to help. And Strack came with his team, the people that he's been working with for years and years and years. But I finally got to see the finished film a couple of years ago at the Oxford Film Festival, and being, not fully connected to it, I was like, what happened in our backyard that I missed? This is amazing. The way that Mississippi looks on the screen is incredible. As you said earlier, the cinematography is beautiful, but the way that they use our locations, it makes you want to go to that place. because of the beauty that they've captured. It's such a unique story. Obviously, it is a story. There are a lot of things imagined there, so it's not a documentary. It's not a true story, but it does take you out of reality for a bit and get to.
It really does. It's a terrific movie that
I'm
keeps
thrilled
you
that it's
kind of
finally come.
spellbound. Yeah.
Yeah.
Death Letter Blues. Look it up. Find it. You'll be glad you did. I mean, it's a good movie, just period. But then again, how it shows off Mississippi's landscape and the cinematography, just absolutely terrific. You know, if you think about what's going on in Laurel, has there ever been anything like that before?
No, there has not been anything like that in Mississippi before. And I've even talked about it on an international stage, to talk about how a project can change a place.
And we're talking about hometown. We're into season 9 now.
Yes. And when they came in, first season, I was like, okay, well, is this gonna last? And then I feel like the Napiers kind of found their TV legs and their personalities, and now we're here in season 9, and the town itself has transformed. It was a quiet town with very few active businesses before the show started. And now almost every building is occupied with something vibrant, whether it's a retail store selling clothing or a restaurant or an ice cream shop. There's something for everyone in that community now to visit. There are license plates from all over the country, downtown, every single day of the year. People are moving to Mississippi because of this show, because they see the affordability. They see that this community is embracing of all people. There's nothing else like it that has been in Mississippi. There's a show, I'm sure you remember, The Walking Dead. I know that's not, it's not the same thing as Hometown, but we went to a conference in Atlanta for all film commissions around the world. And one of the things that they did was they took us on a day trip to Sonoya, Georgia, which is where The Walking Dead based itself. Tiny little town, in the same way that Laurel's a tiny little town. Transformed that town completely. Laurel has been transformed in the same way through a different type of show, of course. It's incredible. And so I'm able to talk about that with my colleagues across the world, and their ears perk up and they're like, oh, well, we didn't think about an unscripted home renovation show that could change a community. And it truly has. It's changed that community. It's changed Mississippi for the better. And people are moving here and spending money. And I think home values have gone up too.
But Nina, you and I have talked about this before. It is often the theme of this show. And it touches in so many different ways. And that is that what people think about this place, who've not been here before, and the preconceived notions of this place before they get here, it's so much different once they get here. And so any show like Hometown, for example, and others like it, that can send a message to the world that Mississippi you had in your mind is not the Mississippi that actually exists here. What a beautiful thing to be able to say. I mean, just from a marketing perspective, what a great story to tell about Mississippi.
Yeah, and you can't pay for advertising like that. This is just happening organically. And I think that's the only way to really tell our story, is to organically tell our story. And it does come through in that show.
The Mississippi Film Office has an important role to play. When your phone rings, give us a nature of the kind of requests that are being made and the opportunities that you have a chance to, maybe build some proposals around.
Yeah, I mean, every day is different. That makes our lives really interesting at work. A call can be simply a project that is looking for certain locations. Of course, they want to access our rebate program. But when we get the request, let's say that it's a story that takes place in 1985 and they need a beach and they need a small town, they need a church, they need an arcade, so we start figuring out number one, which is the hardest location to find? Because we need to find that one first and build around that. Usually a production wants everything within, say, 30 to 45 minutes of each other, these locations, because obviously it takes money to be able to travel your whole team. So you don't want to pick something in Jackson, then pick something on the Gulf Coast, and then pick something in Natchez to serve this production. You want to try to find everything as close to one another as possible. So that's our job, to kind of figure out where in the state all of those things can be represented, give them as many options as we can. Once they get here and they say, yes, this works, then we help them find the people resources that they need. Do they need a camera department? Do they need people for their art department? Do they need stuff like, acupuncturists, because their talent needs that weekly? All of those things come into play. We get really into the nuts and bolts of things with a production. So
when we come back on the other side with Nina and Parikh from the Mississippi Film Office, we'll continue the conversation and see what might be coming up around the opportunities to showcase Mississippi. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank Studio. We're visiting with Nina Parikh. Always enjoy catching up with Nina. She's a director of the Mississippi Film Office. And, Nina, when people go about their daily lives, like say here in coastal Mississippi, and thinking back at what friends of mine have said that bump into John Travolta out and about, or see the movies that derive from Mississippi and seeing those familiar places and whatever. There's an excitement about it for sure, but it's an economic development thing for Mississippi. How often do you guys do movies where the producers see the incentives and develop the relationships with Mississippi talent? A lot of folks with helping to put the production on and whatever, and they want to come back again because they're familiar with it. They like it. They like working with your office. How often does that happen?
It happens more often than one would think. We have a producer that's about to start a movie in the Jackson metro area in the next couple of weeks, and that producer is Andrew Stevens. And Andrew has made 11 movies here. 11. That's one thing to say that about somebody that lives here and they've made that many projects, but for somebody that's coming from somewhere else and continues to do that, says a lot about our incentive program. Number one, it's very attractive. It works. He's seen that it works, obviously. He's also, over time, he started with hiring, I'm just pulling these numbers out of a hat, maybe he hired 10 locals the first time and brought 20 people from somewhere else. As each project goes on, he meets more locals. So at this point, like the last movie that he did here, I think 50% of the people on that set were locals. So that keeps going up because he continues to make the relationships here. The people that he first hired are maybe moving up, in the department. So maybe they were an assistant at first, and now they're the head of the department. It's incredible what that can do when you have repeat producers come in building our industry. We don't have a traditional workforce training program. And obviously we have film programs and academic film programs all around the state, but we don't have an apprenticeship program or anything like that. It's kind of built into the work of making a film. And so when he comes in and he makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 11 shows now, all those people are getting trained throughout those productions. It's almost like going to getting your master's or your PhD in on-set production. So he's definitely seeing the benefits here in Mississippi and continues to bring projects here. He's not the only one, too. There are others that have been here 6, 7, 8 times. So that keeps happening. They end up telling their producer friends around the world, who then say, oh, we heard about your incentive program. We heard about the crew that works so hard there. So that's important for us to bring those producers back over and over again.
I mean,
they
I mentioned John Travolta. Yeah. Go ahead. You can finish your thought. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that some of these producers too, they might be early in their careers. So it may be a low budget project first, but eventually it may be the multi-million-dollar blockbuster. And I think that, our local filmmakers are a good example of that too. Tate Taylor, who made The Help, who made Get On Up, Breaking News in Yuba County. I mean, he started as an extra and working in the casting department on films, and he moved away, made a short film, and now he makes features, huge features here, some of our bigger features, so we're doing it two different ways. The locals are moving up and building their resumes, but also producers from other places are coming here and they're building their resumes too and growing their projects and growing with us and taking us with them.
I think the Help is a really good example of not only a great film, but how it utilized the landscapes in a general, easy to get to area. I mean, I've spent a lot of time in Greenwood because I hunt and just love spending time in the Mississippi Delta, and we spend a lot of time in that part of the state. So when I watched The Help, which I've watched several times actually, I've enjoyed the movie, but more importantly, it seems like when I watch it now, I'm just looking for familiarity. I'm looking now that I've spent even more time there, I start recognizing even more. And boy, they really maximized the Greenwood area when they did that film. That is for sure. But I was mentioning a minute ago about John Travolta, the number of stars that have come through Mississippi as a result of these films that you're talking about, a growing number of them. And I would suspect that their experiences have been terrific.
Yeah, I mean, oftentimes you will see like when the actors are on these press junkets, to promote the films, and the subject matter of where did you film this? I don't know that I have heard any actor ever say anything negative about their experience in Mississippi. More often than not, they say gushing, glowing things about their experience in Mississippi, that the people were lovely, that the food was great, and they gained 10 pounds. And, so that's also advertising that you can't pay for. They're just organically sharing their experience. So there are these opportunities that film brings that don't really have anything to do with dollars and cents in a traditional way. These are things that are just happening because people enjoy their time in Mississippi and they don't have any hesitation in sharing it with the world because it truly was a good time.
Well, you've mentioned the rebates or the incentives that are in place in Mississippi. Mm-hmm. If we didn't have those, we would not be competitive, would we?
No, absolutely not. There are rebates and incentives all over the world. So they're going to go where it makes the most sense for them as a business. It's a business first. It's not just creative art that's being made. It is a business first. So they are going where the incentives are the best for their particular product. We did have a moment in time where we tested that unintentionally. Between 2017 and 2019, we did not have a portion of our rebate, and that portion was the rebate that would go towards salaries of, say, a John Travolta. And we didn't see any major projects at all in that time period. And the second we brought that back, we have been maxing out our rebate, the $20 million that we have, and then we got an extra $10 million for television episodic work. It's been maxed out since 2020.
Yeah.
So yes, the incentive is important to bring.
You know what that reminds me of? I have a friend of mine who is in the construction business. He owns a major construction company. And I once said to him, I said, "Man, you sure are doing well." He said, "Yeah, I'm doing well as long as I keep the pump primed. If the pump comes unprimed, then I got big challenges." And I never really thought of it that way, but the film office is exactly the same thing. I mean, those incentives help you keep that pump primed. You unprime it, and then you got to. Well, you don't have to start over because you've got some relationships, and you got folks that you can re-engage and let them know the incentives are back on again. But it still is an unfortunate misstep. I think the way you said it, you got a chance to test, unfortunately, what it's like not to have them. And you learn pretty quickly that the world has them And if you don't, they're going somewhere else in the world. But that's just the reality of the business, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we want the business, we know how to get it. And we have been getting it. And of course, it's not just about the rebate. They need to have a good experience while they're here. There are places where there's a rebate and they have a terrible experience and they don't go back. Or they go back only because they have to go back because that's their only option. But we're fortunate in that they do have a good experience while they're here. So it's almost like a bonus. Like they're like, oh, they have a great rebate. And we enjoy doing our work in Mississippi. And there's no traffic. There's community members that are willing to help. The people that work on their projects are hard workers. And again, the food's good. So they keep coming back.
Hey, we got about a minute left, but you did mention that a movie is going to start filming in the Jackson area soon. Yeah. What can you say about it?
Well, I can say it is an action film. There are stars in it that people will recognize. So if you do think, does that look like so-and-so? You're probably seeing a star. I can't announce who it is at this very second, but yes, there will be a movie filming in the Jackson metro area, including Canton, starting in the next couple of weeks. And there are some stars that are recognizable. So yeah, we're excited. And we have
that's always good.
Yeah, we have things looking at the Gulf Coast, at Natchez in Northeast Mississippi, the Delta. So we expect that projects are going to be popping up all over the state in the next couple of months.
That's always cool. I mean, people like it. There's something. It's always been that way. When I was a kid, I remember going over to Hancock County. I mean, this is many, many years ago, 50 years ago, and big film production happening, and it was just a big deal, Mm-hmm. It's, people go through their lives and the monotony settles in. So when a big, a star field production goes underway, it excites people, and that's cool. So you've got the economic development piece, you've got showing off Mississippi, and it's also fun for the residents to run into it, isn't it?
It is. I feel lucky every day that I get to do this and be a part of it.
Well, Nina, it's always fun to visit with you. I wish we had more time together, but we don't. So I hope things continue to go well for you guys.
Thank you so much. And as always, thanks for having us and for sharing the good news about filmmaking.
You bet. This has been Nina Parikh from the Mississippi Film Office. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.